I love being a part of this organization. It is so close to my heart and some space I've worked in really since I was 25. But our exciting news is that we are rebranding from Big Bend Homeless Coalition to Family Promise of the Big Bend. I think that tells our story in a lot more beautiful way. We are There's a lot of hope in that. We don't keep people in homelessness. What we really do is connect people to affordable housing. And I like to say everything under us is about creating home. Most of our programs are permanent supportive housing, homes for veterans, working in the home space. And I think there's a lot more hope in that when I think about that. Also allows us to join a national network of shelters that all do family shelter. There's almost 200 of them nationally. There's 7 or 8 more in Florida, and they're all working in this space so we can collaborate, we can align ourselves with what are the national best practices for homeless shelters for families. What are some things we can do to collaborate and work together on a national scale? Allows us to access additional training and resources. So we're really excited to tell our story with a new name and a little different lens on the work we're doing. There's a lot of promise, there's a lot of hope, and we're creating home. One of the things I'd like to share with you that people don't always know is that we are the largest provider of veteran services outside of the VA for the entire Big Bend. And one of the things that we really specialize in for those veterans is creating home for them at Homefront. It's a 52-unit project we have that serves veterans with a disability and homeless history. And we help them through scattered site. So last year, we served 272 veterans and helped them find homes scattered site in our community. And then we kept our Homefront apartments full all the time with 52 new veterans. So we're always working to create home for our veterans. And one of our initiatives, you might have seen this, we were in the city commission meeting the other day that we could purchase some land, and we are looking at purchasing land, and we want to build 65 to 75 new units of housing for veterans that have specifically a homeless history and a documented disability. We work really closely locally with HUD-VASH, and they prioritize the veterans that are the most vulnerable with homeless histories, and then they put them into our apartment Homefront. And we see the need for more every day. My counterpart there said, his name is Frank Norris. He's a fabulous partner. And he's like, I could fill that complex up for you instantly. And if you look at the point in time counts for veterans experiencing homelessness, it ebbs around 90 homeless veterans on any average night. And one of the city's goals when they looked at their affordable housing plan was to get to veterans homelessness at functional zero by 2025. So this aligns really well with those goals from the city. And then we have those relationships. That's a large piece of what we do as an organization, really. People sometimes know about HOPE, but a larger funding piece of what we do is that we serve veterans, and we serve a ton of veterans. And I feel really passionately about serving those veterans that are predominantly older, post-Vietnam veterans over the age 55 with a disability, and creating home and community for those people who have served and given so much for us. I think the beauty of Tallahassee and working in nonprofits, those relationships, and we naturally collaborate well. I think of some of my dearest friends in this world of being other nonprofit partners who are always there, willing to lend a hand when we have something happen, whether it's Second Harvest and Monique helping us find food for my clients and setting up an extra feeding space in our cafeteria to collect food for them, or Leslie Palverdeau, we have legal issues that our clients are dealing with that we can help with. There's so much collaboration in this space, and I think that's part of the magic of being a nonprofit here, is that we know those partners and that we collaborate and where we can overlap and help people together jointly. They're not my clients, they're not their clients, they're our clients. These are our neighbors, and we all have to wrap ourselves around them. And I say, if we don't stand in the gap, who will for these people, And I think that that's the attitude of many of our UPS partners, that we want to do that together and to work on that. I think we have to keep looking for creative solutions to affordable housing. This is not a crisis in Tallahassee or a crisis in Florida. This is a national crisis. This is not new information, but we have to look at how we can collaborate and how we can attack this. And there's multiple different pieces that we can do, whether I want to continue building some, right, to add to the affordable housing stock, but then I'll need people to provide social services and to help support those clients with food pantries and do just socialization. There's just all kinds of things that nonprofits can do when we do that and work together. And I think sometimes that even means lobbying for more affordable housing, or what does that look like in our community, or what resources are we putting towards affordable housing or permanent supportive housing in our community. So I think there's a piece for all of us to come to the table and to do something to help those clients that we serve. Something I like to tell everybody that will listen is it costs Floridians, so taxpayers like you and me, about $31,000 a year for someone to be homeless. I can house them for about $15,000 a year with some support services. It actually costs us more money to have people cycle in and out of emergency rooms, jails, ambulance rides. This is more expensive for us as a city, a county, a state member than it is to put people in housing. So I think we need to arm ourselves with the facts. This makes sense from just a human perspective, and for a compassionate perspective, we don't really believe anyone should sleep outside, right? I don't think most people really believe that. So whether it makes sense to you from like your heart is involved in this, or like those numbers make sense. It doesn't make sense to keep people trapped in homelessness. So prioritizing funding. And I know this year, Kathleen Pasadoma is president of the Senate, and they are looking at a lot of housing and putting a lot of money into housing, which is really hopeful, because we're going to actually save money for the average taxpayer by housing people that have a homeless history and they're kind of slipping through the cracks. For just the average citizen, we're going to save them money when we do this. So pushing that forward, I think, is hugely important, that we have to prioritize affordable housing, and we're saving money by doing it. Wouldn't we rather pay $16,000 a year than $31,000, right? This makes sense to help these people become housed, stay stable in our community. About a third of people on an average night that are homeless are going to need support services and supportive housing forever. But that isn't more expensive than keeping them homeless. We don't have institutions. There isn't really a space for them a lot of times in our community. There's not a space for them to get the care they need to stay housed unless we put them in supportive housing. And that's so much better for them, for us as a community, and it saves taxpayers money. So just pressing that forward, I think, is a huge priority for me. March 9th is our first signature event. We're calling it Home, Hope, and Promise. I think that kind of incorporates our new name in a really lovely way. And we would love for you to attend. Tickets are on sale now. We are honoring housing champions in our community. We are honoring State Rep Allison Tant, who has been a huge champion of housing, Leon County's Shington Lammy, who has just worked tirelessly in this space to help house and support our most vulnerable neighbors. And then we're also honoring the Junior League, who has been really supportive of the work we are doing and just jumping in to support families and some of our veterans. Former State Rep Alan Williams, who is now at HUD, is coming home, and he will be speaking at this event and talking about how we align with some HUD priorities, what HUD is doing, and emceeing our event for him. We're thrilled to have him out there. And so it's going to be a fun night where we celebrate housing in our community, and that we are connecting people to housing and home. And there are people in our community who are doing that hard work every day. And we want to thank them for doing that work. And then we will also just continue to raise funds for the work we are doing as we look at building more veterans housing in our community and continuing to take care of our families at Hope and just expand the work we're doing.